the relationship. It's the feel good. I always say this is before I had money to go to really nice restaurants. But when you went to a really good restaurant and they made you feel like this is your place, right? It makes you feel good. Yeah. It doesn't matter how much someone's charging you or what the end bill is or what the end like. That's like your place. They made you feel good. And when someone knows you're extra and knows what you like, let me tell you, that's where you're going to be spending your money and your time and your energy.
Bam. Guys, how are you guys doing today?
Great. How are you doing today?
Good. So you guys are still in Michigan?
Yeah,
we still are for right now.
Repping the D hat. Look, I've got the D tattoo, baby, representing right there. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
My first time I could flex my muscle on the show. I was super excited. I was waiting for that. So thank you.
How many push-ups did you do before you had to do that right now?
0, but I did do some curls today, this morning, so I got real puffy with the shirt. I got excited about that. I want the listeners and viewers to know exactly what it is you guys are doing, who you are, what business you guys have, and how to reach you. And then let's dig in deep to how you guys got to where you're at. So, George, you want to start, and then Johnny jump in?
Yeah, sure. We're hairdressers by trade. We're feel-good people, you know. I always say we're instant gratification is what we really are. People pay to have us cut their hair, but there's a little bit more than that because you come in and you leave and you're feeling good automatically. So I say that we're better than a doctor, we're closer than a doctor, and we're the shrink that just adds the haircut to it because clients want to tell us everything. But I've been doing this for about 27 years. Johnny and Tommy came in. We started building around the 2002 time. But, you know, this is the best thing I could have gotten into. This is like the one thing that I didn't know what I was good at, Jay. I told you before, I was like the perfect D student in school. So I didn't know what to do.
You got bad grades and Johnny got good grades, or was it vice versa? How did that work?
Johnny got good grades and I got bad grades. Like I was a, what do they call it? Like I was that guy, if you gave me a book and said, read the book and do it, I was like, this book has got to be like made to like hold the door open. But if you showed me something and put my hands to work, I can pretty much replicate whatever you did. So I was the visual person. Johnny was good in school. Johnny was that kid who studied a little bit and probably got pretty good grades. I could look at the book this way, and it all is the same thing. Yeah.
I understand that. So Johnny, any rebuttal to that? You're the smart one. He's the vision.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm the smart one. I think we all play our part. But yeah, I mean, it was funny because when he went to school, like my parents weren't fond of it at all. They were like, hair school, really? Like my dad was like, we have something to talk about here? And we were like, even when I found out, I was like, really? Hair school? I was kind of like, I didn't know much about it. Well, then he started doing it, and I was going in there to get my haircuts. Like I love getting haircuts, and I still to this day, I'm like, I like to get weekly haircuts. And George one day was like to us, me and my buddy Tommy were getting a haircut. And he's like, you guys should look into this. And we're like, really? I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. Well, needless to say, I went to beauty school like a week later just to check it out, and I was sold. It was like 95% women, 5% guys. And
you can't complain about that. Going to school, all women, no dudes. Yeah. I mean,
no,
and 5% was like half and half.
Yeah, I got it. I get it. I understand.
So the odds are good.
It was more like this. Johnny and Tommy were coming in every Friday, and I was like, listen, one of you fucking guys have to go to beauty school because this is not going to happen for the rest of my life. I am not going to every Friday have a section where you two come in. And they went to school, checked it out, and completely, I think, fell in love with the school.
Yeah.
And then got really good at everything else.
Well, let's tell the listeners and the viewers here, I mean, how successful your salon is. So I go there. My kids have gone there. My wife's been there. You know, I lived in Charlotte for most of my life, originally from Arizona, been in Michigan for about 19, 20 months now. Couldn't find a real place to get my hair cut. Heard about you guys through some mutual friends, a couple NFL players that referred me to you guys, came in, and I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen a salon that was so accepting that made you feel like you were VIP by the moment you walked in till the moment you ended? There's so much staff greeting you, getting you drinks, helping you out. You've got helpers helping the people do the hair, cut the hair, wash the hair. And I've never seen a salon so busy. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. And the first time I walked in, you guys had some 90s rap bumping where I was like, I dig this. This is my vibe.
That would be compliments to me.
That's right. That's right. That's Johnny's music right there. But talk about, like, your salon is so unique and it's so busy.
Jay, we're very blessed from day one. I mean, you put enough work and hard work into it, things are going to happen. We're very blessed. We have everyone from your CEOs to your stay-at-home CEOs. You know, like, we have a little bit of everything. We don't cater to one group of people, and that's what I like about what we do. Our clientele base is everywhere. Like you said, you could be sitting next to an NFL player, an NHL player, and a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and it's like we're all in the same boat. We're all having a good time, and we try to keep it fun and energetic, but we try to keep it where we're the scene. We're the fun place to be. We want to be very opening and very welcoming to everyone. We do everything from change the music from when you get in there at 7 o'clock in the morning, the music changes at noon, and the music changes in the evening. But we want to make it to where it's that fun place to be at. I've even gone to as far as we put speakers on the outside because we're very fortunate in our locations. We're on corners. 2 out of the 3 of our spots are on corners. And let's just say you're walking by, all of a sudden you hear this music coming from somewhere, and you're like looking in and you see our corner, and you're just like, that's where you want to be, because you want to be where it's happening. That's the reason why the front desk is not in the front. The front desk is in the back. The people are in the windows who are cutting hair, doing stuff. So you're seeing this, and you drive by or you walk by, and you're like, that's where I want to be. That's the place I want to be at, because it's happening in there. It draws your eye and it draws your ear.
People love action. You know, when we back 2002, 2003, when we first started, we were like, you know, between the 3 of us, we were thinking of ideas that we could do to create that environment. We used to be open on Thursdays until midnight.
Wow.
And we would have, every single week, we would have a live DJ playing on Thursdays. The DJ would start at like 9 and go until midnight. And honestly, quite often, like, we'd be open till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And
it's like a party when you get your hair did. It's crazy.
And it was crazy because like a lot of people were like, oh, I don't know if people are going to like the whole DJ thing, but it created such a vibe and such a scene that people would save their appointment times during that time, because they were like, oh, it was like, I'm going to get my hair done. It's like a scene. It was fun. We made it really, really fun. And it was crazy. Like, it would be busting at the seams.
I'm gonna go back a little bit and talk about when we started this. Like, me and Johnny we came from 2 really hardworking parents. That's it.
Agreed.
Our dad worked for the big 3. Our mom worked for some of the hospitals. Like, we worked for what we were taught from our parents is hard work. There's, like, you say this great thing, Jay, all the time. There's no elevator to take you to the top. There isn't. They haven't made that elevator yet. Like, we were taught hard work. We were taught nothing happens by accident and nothing happens for free without, getting a little dirty. So the one thing that we had was we had the backbone of hard work. There was no plan B. How about that?
Well, let's dig deep into that. So when you guys decided you want to open a business, and I've heard a little bit of the story, but tell me how that went. Because I know you went to your parents. You got parents that were working their asses off, busting their tail to provide for you guys. You guys had an opportunity, but the thing you got from your parents, which, look, I believe hard work and effort and, hunger outdoes talent every single day. I believe in that, right?
Amen to that. Amen to that. I would rather hire someone who has a killer crazy work ethic than someone who thinks that they're talented.
Correct.
Because you think that you're talented doesn't do a damn thing for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell me the story how you guys opened. How did that go down? What made you guys become that entrepreneur to open the business?
I think that as we were working together, first of all, when Johnny went to school and Tommy went to school, we worked together for a little while, and then they branched off and went to another salon. And then I didn't go to that salon for about a year, and then teamed up with them again. And the one thing that we knew is that we could probably do it better than what the guy who we were working for did it. We had been in the business I was probably in the business already for about 10 years, but I just felt, just under 10 years actually, I just felt like there was more to it. And Johnny was at a gym, and I'll let you take it over from here, Johnny.
So I was at a gym, a local gym, and I actually was on a treadmill and I was working out, and this guy starts talking to me. And you know how that goes, like someone's talking to you on a treadmill, you're like, and he's like, starts telling me, he's like, he asking me what I do. And I told him, and he's like, there's this really cool corner. I mean, it needs a lot of taking care of, but he's like, there's a really cool corner in Royal Oak. And at that time I wasn't really familiar with Royal Oak. And I'm like, really? He's like, you should check it out. So honestly, I left the gym and I had some extra time and I drove straight there. And it's funny, like if you see what it was before, you would be like, what did you see in this place? I mean, it was terrible. But I sat at that corner for an hour, and I just looked at it. And I looked at the traffic, and I was just staring at the building. And I thought to myself, wow, this could really work, just because I knew what the three of us could bring to it. Mm-hmm. And I immediately got back in the car, and I
So you were envisioning, you're staring at this corner and you're envisioning, you're looking at it going, wow, this could be something.
Yeah.
That's cool. Go ahead. And
I got in the car and I called George and I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, I forgot what he was doing at the time. And I'm like, I found this really cool spot. I think, we should look at it. And he's like, where is it? And I'm like, Royal Oak. And he's like, are you fucking crazy? Royal Oak? He's like, we're in Troy. And we're like, I'm like, yeah, but let's just look at it. And George, I'll let you take over from there, because it was like,
I'm not sure what the hell he fell in love with. It was a corner that had not had anyone in it for 5 years. The middle of they had paper all over the windows. If you looked in, the center of it had collapsed. Mm. There was nothing in here that looked like it would be cool, other than you were going to dump a bunch of money into this thing.
It was an old school record store.
It was, and it was shut down. There was nothing at that time. Main Street in Royal Oak was like the bumping spot. Washington had nothing. It had a restaurant on one corner, a restaurant bar on one corner. There was an old guy selling tchotchkes and paper, model airplanes, and there was a bra store on the other corner. There was nothing on this corner. And we were all like, you know what? Let's do it. And at the time, Jason, that's when the banks were actually giving money for loans and for businesses. As long as you had an idea and you put it on paper, banks were actually giving you a loan. So me, Johnny, and Tommy went to the bank. We did what we needed to do. We took all the money we had from communion money, and we just dumped it all in and said, we don't have enough. We went to the bank, and the bank's like, let us look it over and we'll send you something. At the time, you're like, I'm going to get money from the bank. I didn't know what to expect. You're going to get money. I was thinking there was a briefcase of money coming to us.
Duffel bags.
Yeah, we didn't know what that meant.
Hey, with the last name Nikollaj, I'm just going to throw it out there. I told you before we started, you guys got a gangster-ass name. My name's Boring Bean Waller. You guys are next level G's. But go ahead. I understand why you thought duffel bags were coming.
Right. I didn't know exactly, Jason. I didn't know exactly. So we finish work. This is the quick one. We finish work. We go home. It's a Saturday. We're having dinner with my parents because we still lived with our parents. We go home, we're having dinner with my folks, and we're halfway through dinner, and my dad says, hey, your stuff came in the mail. And I'm like, what stuff? He's like, your stuff from the bank. I'm like, where is it? He's like, just sit down, please, just sit down. I said, where is our stuff? He's like, just sit down. Me and your mother want to talk to you. And I'm chomping at the bit. And I'm he's starting to talk, and I get up and I'm looking through all the cupboards, and I find this envelope with checks, and they're all shredded. And I'm all the blood had completely rushed out of my face, and that was a nice pale white. Mm. And you have to know my parents have done everything from you don't buy anything if you don't have the money for it, paid off the house, never bought a car unless he had exact like money for it. Didn't know what a credit card was until I think I was already out of high school. And if he bought something, when the bill came, he paid it off at the end of the month because you were not going to make money off him. He was going to make money off you.
Right.
So
my dad's motto, if you can't pay for it cash, you shouldn't own it.
It's a good motto.
I mean, he's always stuck by that.
Yeah.
So here I go. I open this thing up and these checks are all shredded. And I'm like, what the fuck did he just do? And he says, sit down. We want to talk to you guys. And he says, me and your mother were so worried about you guys having to pay the bank back. So what we're going to do is we mortgage the house, 401ks all in. We're going to give you everything you guys need. And I was in my head, I was thinking, in his mind, he's saying, hey, I would rather you pay me and not have the stress. And in my head, I was like, the hell with the stress. I would rather have to deal with the bank than have to let you down.
Right. That's a big pressure. That's a lot of pressure to have.
More pressure than the goddamn
way more.
bank.
Yeah, exactly. That's harder.
But I will tell you this, that pressure probably, I mean, lit a fire on us, gave us the eye of the tiger, basically.
Oh, he knew what he was doing.
You know,
he knew exactly
failure was not an option.
Yeah.
You know, we were like, that's it, you know, and honestly, at that time we were like, I mean, we couldn't understand why he was doing it and this and that. But as things were, you know, progressing, we're like, I mean, the stress to not have to pay the bank note every single month, he knew what, you know, he knew what he was doing. And we were just like, but I mean, it totally helped us out.
Well, it lit a fire. You said that, Johnny. It lit a fire because you were like, my parents worked hard their entire life. They're sacrificing everything they worked for us to go out here and open a business off an idea and a vision, and we haven't proven anything yet. It's going to put a lot of pressure on, but I think you said it right. That's what's needed sometimes to get shit done.
And in his head, he was helping us out, but in our heads, we're like, holy shit. And then he says to me, which again, this is one of those staples that like always seems to just like stay with you forever. Hey, if this works out, it's going to work out for all of us. And if it doesn't, we're all going to live together for a really long time.
Oh. And you're like, I don't want to live there forever. I got to make this work. Now let's hear from our sponsors.
So someone asked me a month ago, I did an interview with one of our industry companies, and he says, well, what was plan B? I said, plan B was for plan A not to fail. Yeah. There is no plan B. George, Johnny, and Tommy were the cleaning ladies. Like we did everything, Jayson. If someone were to say, what advice would you give to a young hairdresser to start their own? I think to myself, I would tell them to do the shit that we didn't do. But then again, what we did worked out. We built a salon, 4,600 square foot salon for 4 hairdressers. We spent $500,000 in a business that we knew how to cut hair. We knew nothing about running it other than the passion of how to make it work, or passion on how to cut it and how to treat clients. And that's the stuff that we did. We spent too much money on advertising. We weren't even open yet, and we were buying full pages in magazines and putting a bright red 6 on it. And people were like, what the fuck is red? What is this 6?
We had this, our Royal Oak store, as you've seen it, it was a huge storefront, but it was all boarded up. And at one point we put 6 red lights in the window for like a month and a half, and everyone
would come on at 6:00 p.m. and go off at 6:00 a.m.
So people would drive by and no one knew what it was. They're like, why are the six red lights? And it created a little buzz. And then we took those down and we put this a phrase, and it said, pick a number between 5 and 7. And then we put coming soon. And people were like, what?
And in no time were we putting 6 Salon anywhere. It was either the red 6 in magazines or the pick a number between 5 and 7. And there's 6 red lights in the windows. Like there was stuff that, like there was nothing that said 6 Salon, but there was like droplets of the 6. And
you were teasing everybody. You were giving them the little taste.
Yeah, we were creating a buzz. Yeah, little by little, you know.
And then opening up and being on a corner and doing, you know, the being open till midnight and the DJ. And, you know, in our heads, we were like, if we build it cool, if we build it fun, they will come. We had one hairdresser that we had hired. It was me, Johnny, Tommy, and another hairdresser and our assistants. We knew we were going to go into a business. We weren't going to steal anyone's employees because that's not how we wanted to do this. We were going to raise all of our own people from scratch. We were going to make them assistants. We were going to pull them out of school, teach them our way of doing everything, and raise them that way. And now we're over 100 employees, and less than 10 of them have come from other locations, salons, and no salons that were near us, meaning that I wasn't hurting another business owner because that's not my juju. I'm not taking anyone's employee because I don't want anyone to think that I'm coming into a town and taking your people.
You know, let's talk about that for a minute. When I was sitting there and you've got the assistants, and I've seen coming there for a few months now, almost a year, I've seen some of your assistants become hairdressers, right? And be very successful. In fact, I missed that the one guy, I forgot the guy's name, like, dude did my hair, the bomb, right? Love that guy. Yeah. And his sister, they do a great job. So sitting there and you were explaining to me, I told you, and we barely knew each other. I said, dude, your place is buzzing. Like, I've never seen a place like this before. And Johnny, I didn't know you yet. And we would later on meet and we would coach. And it's like, oh, you're his brother. So it's odd how the whole circle came together. Yeah. But, you know, I'm sitting there talking to you, George, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, everybody's got like an assistant or two assistants. And you said, that's how we train. That's how we recruit. We bring them and we groom them to do it our way. They're fresh and they learn through our ropes and they have an opportunity to build their own clientele by being that assistant. I just thought, because in our business, we do very similar. Every one of our regionals, every one of our district managers, every one of our assistant district, they all started as a rep. And I'm a big passionate believer in, you know, you got to try to grow within as much as you can, right? As much as you can. Sometimes you can't, but as much as you can, you do that. And what it does is now they're thinking like you. They're bleeding the colors that your brand is. They're all in and they're appreciative. Maybe they don't have all the skill sets as someone with all this experience, but we said it earlier. It doesn't matter. We don't need the experience or skill sets. We need passion. Right? We need work ethic. And you're teaching them those things because you can teach people how to cut hair or dye hair or do whatever. You can't teach them hard work. You can't teach them positive energy. You can't teach them to protect the brand and be a part of that. But you're doing that through your layers of growth in your company, which I thought was amazing.
Well, because it's easier to me if I bring in someone with bad habits already, I have to like retrain those bad habits. But if I'm bringing someone in who doesn't have any bad habits and I'm molding them, someone says, how will I know how to do that? I said, because you'll never learn how to do it not like that.
Right.
Like if you're always doing it this way, because this is the only way you're watching every hairdresser, every assistant, everybody. I tell them all the time, I hire 5 people for 2 jobs because I know 2 or 3 or 4 of them are going to kind of like wean themselves off and it's going to be too much. I tell them, don't learn anybody's name because you're not here for that. I just want you to understand what we're all about and you'll fit right in. Like, because it gets overwhelming. You know, there's so many clients, there's so many staff, there's people running around and they come in and their eyes are this big. I'm like, stop it. Just pay attention to what I'm asking you to pay attention to. And I promise you it'll all work out. Like, you'll understand why. You're not my client, you're our client. Right. Everybody needs to make eye contact with you. I always go back to when you came to my parents' house. This is where we learned. You came to my parents' house. You didn't hang up your coat. You didn't go in the fridge and get yourself something to drink. You are our guest. We hang up your coat. We grab you something to drink. We make you comfortable. You are in our home. That's our home. So you are our guest. Like, that's got to be taught from, because some people are not taught that way from their homes. So that's our home. We're teaching you how to do that. The other stuff will come into play. We teach every Monday. We have class for all of our young people. Every quarter, we have class for all of everybody. Doesn't matter who you are. As long as you're under our umbrella, you have class. So we're teaching you everything. You need to know, from your shampoos to your blow dries to your cutting to your color. I don't care what school taught you. School taught you how to be dangerous with a pair of shears. We're teaching you how to refine what you are. We're teaching you how to run your business, meaning your chair, and how to increase your client base.
Even like our whole thing is we want to make it fun, energetic, but, we were very heavy on the customer service side. We wanted to make sure everybody feels special, from the second they walk in to the second they leave. We want to make sure that they feel amazing.
Not only have you guys accomplished that, Johnny, but I mean, you guys took a chance with the stress and burden of your entire family on an idea, and you didn't do what everybody else does. This is what's amazing, and I think that's really great, makes you guys unique. As entrepreneurs, a lot of us get stuck in trying to copycat exactly, but you guys went against the grain and made something completely different. DJs in the damn salon, till 1:30 in the morning, it's a club getting your hair cut. I get it. Just coming there now, I feel like it's a damn club, and you don't have a DJ. It's people bebopping. It's fun. I'm like, damn, I like being here. I don't mind being here for an hour or two getting my hair done because it's fun. I'm not sitting there waiting and nobody's talking to me forever. It's a whole experience that you guys have really created. And obviously when you first opened, yesterday I did a roundtable podcast with some other entrepreneurs. We talked about evolving. So when you guys first opened, you had these ideas and you're implemented them and you're training and you're grooming within. But think about year one to now, how much you've evolved, things that you've learned, how hardship happened. Business is bad. You still got to pay your people, but you can't get paid. Let's talk a little bit about the grind that people from the outside look at you guys and go, well, damn, they've done this. They don't understand. Like you mentioned, sweeping floors and closing the shop down and not getting paid. Let's talk about that a little bit.
So great. Go ahead. I'm sorry. So crazy thing about evolving, it was the first day we opened, day one, we're like, none of us slept all night long because we're, excited. We're like, we didn't know how to act. We all show up early. We're there, and we get our first client walks in. We're like, oh my God, it felt, it was amazing, right? Another client comes in. The girl walks up to us and is like, hey guys. And we're like, what? How are they supposed to pay? And we're like, what? It was so new to us. We didn't buy a register. We're like, oh,
hey, there's that.
Oh yeah.
That's right. It's a freebie today. Today is Tuesday.
We got to get paid for this. And I'm telling you, literally, to touch back what George said, we knew how to work hard, but the whole business thing, we were fresh at it.
I love that, by the way, because I have my story similar. I didn't even know what EBITDA was in my business. It's my third company. And so the first two companies, I never knew what it was until 2 years ago. Right. So, as an entrepreneur, you know your skill set, you grind and you do it and you're like, shit, I'll figure that out. And you figure out by learning. Go ahead, George.
And that, you said that. You said that you figure stuff out. Our thing is that we're going to figure it out and we'll do it the right way. We didn't hire too many people because we didn't want to have a bunch of people. We wanted to have the 4 we can control and then control everybody else. We also, like you said, we didn't pay ourselves. We paid the business. And 18 years later, Jayson, just so you know, we still pay the business first. Still, to this day, nothing's changed because there's 3 of us. And just because me and Johnny are brothers doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Mm-hmm. We are third, me, Johnny, and Tommy. So I didn't know, we were all so young. We had a smart attorney at the beginning that said, hey, listen, you guys need to have partnership agreements. What is that? Well, you guys got to make sure that just because you're family doesn't mean anything. It's got to be done a certain way. So we said at the beginning, we're going to pay the salon this much every week. Because let's say Johnny's work ethic was not great, and he's like, the salon got to a point now, he's like, I'm going to just sit back and relax. Well, that's not going to happen. Mm-mm. If you're not working, you're not getting paid.
Right.
So the extra goes to the bank, to the house, let's say.
People don't realize that, George. They don't realize as opening a business, and when we tell the listeners and viewers out there, no matter what your business is, whether it's a hair salon, whether it's a home security company, whether it's a water filtration company, whether you're making food and shipping it to people and doing a catering service, in today's pandemic, that's going to be a popular thing. Whatever it is you're doing, you can't take all the money. You got to reinvest in the company. I've always had a rule. It's pay your people first, your vendors second, which is your business, right? You're last if there's anything left. And in most cases, there's not. You reinvest in the company for the end game. This isn't be in it for a minute. This is how do we get to the next step? And that's why you guys have been successful.
And 100%, like you just said, you pay your people first, because if you don't do something one time, they'll remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is making sure that George, Johnny, and Tommy don't leave the chair was another great idea at the beginning that just really worked out for its benefit. Like if you're not cutting hair, you're not making money. And what in Folds, what that has done is that our employees see us behind the chair with them instead of being the guy in the office, barking out orders. If there's a decision made for our staff, guess what? We follow the same thing that was just made up. It doesn't matter what it was. If there was a rule, if there was something made that was just automatically, all right, we can't from now on do this. Like, guess what? We're going to follow that because we're still cutting hair behind the chair. And that's still 18 years later, we're still doing the same damn thing.
We legit for 2 years did not take a check. Whatever tips we made, that's what we lived off of. Like that was an agreement the three of us had that we're like, everybody gets paid first. We pay the business. And I believe it was 16 months later or something like that, close to, we had paid all our debt back.
That's awesome. See, that's what it's about, right? Like getting the company to be profitable by not owing anything after that, and then growing it. And, in these roundtables, we talk about scalability, and that you guys are grinding every single day, right? You're earning your paycheck that way, but there's going to be a day in the near future. Don't know when that day is, that you guys are going to look at each other and go, how do we take this to the next level? How do we have 5 or 10? We can't possibly run a company with 5 or 10, salons and do this. And there's going to be a time that you guys have to train the up and coming Johnnies and Georges to do what you're doing for each store. And then you're going to have to be the vision, because I believe in every business, it continues to evolve. And Entrepreneur 101 is you're doing everything. You're wearing 50 hats. 102 is I'm going to wear 7 hats. 103 is I'm going to wear 4 hats, but I'm going to earn my paycheck. And you just keep doing that. You guys got 3 now, and they're very successful. And I love that you guys are in the grind and doing that. But there may be a time, like, what does the future look like? Right now, you're still grinding, and that's great. But one day soon, for your employees to have that opportunity, and because you guys got such a great brand. I mean, I'm not blowing, the brand is amazing, okay? And the culture is amazing. But there's going to be a time that you look at other locations. You just popped up Detroit like that, and it's going to be like, we got to do this, we got to do that. And what I've learned, this is for my growth, and this is advice I like to share with people, is I did everything. I was freaking doing the funding. I was helping with the interconnections. I was helping with the permitting. I was making sure, calling the damn customers. I was booking the appointment. I was running and selling the deals. The only thing I never did, because my hands are real soft and I got great fingernails, is my ass didn't get up on a roof and install the shit. I'm just not doing it, right? Everything else I'm game for, but I ain't doing that. And over time, and look, I'm 5 years into this business, but over 1,000 employees. And, Brian Elias, you guys know him.
Yep.
He had, between me moving to Michigan. So here's what happened. I was entrenched with everything I did. And when I moved to Michigan, we had investors come in, and I said, hey, look, I want to go to Michigan, open a corporate office. I had a wake-up call. I got there. I didn't have an office yet. And now I'm not involved in my company. I'm not here making sure every damn department is flowing. I had my fingers and tentacles and everything, which is great because when you're earning, right? But this forced me to be the vision, to look at a bigger opportunity. How can I take what I've got and scale it and do it again? So I opened up the Troy office, and then I'm like, all right, I'll be all in there. And I go to the office a few days, and I'm like, I can't do this. I have to go negotiate with the football teams and do this and think bigger, and everybody's business is different. But I believe with your guys' growth and your guys' opportunity, it could be a year, could be 3 years, could be 5. You're going to be grooming the next George, Johnny, and Tommy's, running these things for you as you guys are looking to the future, duplicating this. Would you agree?
Yes, I absolutely agree.
Sure.
And the best advice I've ever been given, by several people is eventually you've got to train your replacement so you can think bigger and duplicate the company.
Absolutely.
Right. And you are smart enough, and talking to great CEOs in my chair, great presidents of company, you have to be smart enough to know what you're really good at and what you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And we brought in a GM, Derek, who's fucking awesome at doing the stuff that I used to just run from one thing to another. And now I have a guy who I'm like, hey, I need to do this. He's like, I already got that covered. Hey, I need to do this. He's like, I already got that covered. And it's like all of a sudden you're like, wow, this is amazing that someone is thinking like that, who doesn't own a part of my business, but has completely taken it like it is part of him. That's the hard thing for you to like get used to. And when you find someone like that, boy, you don't want to let them go, because
right,
it's really hard.
Special thing when someone can gauge what you're going to say before you say it. And, and he implements so much of it. And it's like you said, I mean, we're three very busy guys, and we can't be everywhere. And, he's actually been a great component to where we've been able to, step back a little bit and, focus more on the client and do things like that.
Now, let's hear from our sponsors. It's so important because you guys are the vision, right? It's so important. And maybe that is the vision. Like I said, everybody's business is different. Like for me, I've got to look in the future, what states we're going into, are we negotiating with other NFL teams? That mine's different. But yours is your people. So you guys are working with your people. So to do some of that minutia, that other stuff in the background, hiring a guy like Derek, and as you guys grow, you're going to hire other leaders. I think you said it, George. The best thing any entrepreneur, business owner can do is realize, I'm good at this. I suck at that. I'm going to bring people in to help me out with that, because I believe the Avengers are more powerful than Superman. I'm a Superman fan. Yeah. Okay? He whip anybody's ass. But as a team and in business, Avengers are powerful to bring leaders on in the company that bring an asset, a part of intelligence and work ethic that we may be lacking. Like, I don't know nothing about EBITDA. I don't know nothing about benefits. I don't know nothing about 401k. I don't know any of that, right? Whatever it is, I know how to sell. I know how to motivate. That's it. Let's go. Well, then I need to do this, because when we start going wide, we fail. We have to be able to go deep and hire people to go deep with us to grow our businesses and to grow our people. And I think that was really smart, you guys bringing in someone like Derek. And as you guys grow, this is going to continue. You're going to bring on other leaders that are like, this person gets it and this allows me, because we're always asking ourselves as entrepreneurs, where is my time most valuable that's going to impact our company? For you guys, it's working with your people. Being out there, smiling, showing them the way, motivating them as they come on. That's kind of what I do. I have to do all the sales meetings, the install meetings. I have to motivate the people, right? That is a big, important part. And some of that other back end stuff, when you can start handing that off, scalability starts coming, which is really exciting.
And that's where we've noticed in the last, I don't know, I'm going to go 7 years, like Johnny has fallen into what he's really good at. Tommy has fallen into what he's good at. I've fallen in. Like, I'm definitely, if you ask me how much this costs or our bills being paid, I'm going to tell you right fucking now, I have no clue. Zero. I have no idea. My dad is that guy who he's always like watching, even though he really doesn't understand the business part of it. He's always asking, are you guys going to be okay here? I said, I don't know. He's like, how do you not know? I'm like, because that's not my job. My job is big picture. My job is selling six really well, talking it up, engaging with other people, going out to different events, charities, and letting people know who we are. I sell George and I sell six really, really well. The other stuff, not my thing. My job is to always have those doors and people cranking in. My job is to make sure all my young people are getting great books, making sure that they have a great clientele base. My job is to make sure that they can buy a house, buy a car, raise a family. That's my job. The other stuff, not my job.
Well, that ties into, realizing you're out there. Not only are you selling customers to, hey, you want to come here and experience what we're doing, right? It's a great vibe. We're going to do a great job with your hair, which, by the way, you guys kill it. I mean, I had to have someone else do it here. It looks look, this isn't bad, but it's 10 times better when I'm back seeing these guys. That's a fact, right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. But, the fact that A, you realize that, but B, you're also selling your employees. You're selling them the dream of being a part of something great. And look, everyone has their role to play, like the Avengers. Everybody's got it. And when everyone realizes and they get aligned what their role is, things really start to grow and multiply, which is really cool.
Well, I mean, as you know, with your businesses, you're on your third one, and you just keep getting better at what you do. Think about the first business you started. Think about the first business you sold.
It was very bad.
Right. Well, that's what I mean.
I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I can't even believe I got to where I got to.
Right.
But you're right. Every day we learn. And I always say, and I didn't make this up, it's out there all the time, but we don't lose, we learn. And as entrepreneurs, when we fall down, that's what's going to make us stronger. Struggle makes strength. I swear it really does. And, people on the outside looking in, they think there is that elevator. You hear me say it, and it's not. It's I took a step, and that's a win. And I can feel like, good, today I took a step. Tomorrow I'm going to take a step. That's a win. You can't do it overnight and you're going to get discouraged. It is, look where it took the years that you guys have put in, and that let's try this. Nope, this doesn't work. Let's try this. Yes, this works. Oh, let's switch. You have to do that, and you have to put in the work and not take it personally when things don't go well. You learn. A loss is learning in business.
Well, they say, overnight success is 10 years. Mm-hmm. Right? That's what they say. 10,000. They had the 10,000 hours. Like, I always joke, because Johnny is my, if you know Johnny, you know that Johnny drives some of the nicest cars on the road. And Johnny about holds on to him for about a year. It's amazing. And I always say, people see him, they're like, wow, that's bad. That's awesome. I said, listen, everybody wants to drive Johnny cars, but nobody wants to put in Johnny time.
That's right.
Nobody wants to come in early. Nobody wants to stay later than everybody else. Nobody wants to listen. This guy will. I just remember when we first had our first location, someone would come up and walk in, and Johnny was already booked solid, and someone would come up to the front desk, and he would see him. Our stations are the same at every single location. Johnny works closest to the window. I work closest to the desk. I need to still hear what people are talking about. So a client would walk in, and as a walk-in, and the receptionist would say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have anyone." And Johnny would look over, and he's like, and then he would excuse himself and walk over to the front desk and say, "You were never, ever allowed to let someone leave. Someone has just opened their wallet up to us and said, here, take what you'd like." And the front desk is going to say, "Sorry, we don't have any time."
Bad business, baby.
We're going to make time. We're not going to let anyone leave.
Like in these downtown areas like Royal Oak, Birmingham, Detroit, there's a lot of salons, and they're coming in. Obviously, they want to get a service done. When you tell them, "No, I can't take care of you," they're going to go down the street, or they'll go down to another place. So my motto has been, all of ours has been, if someone walks in the door, they're going to get serviced. They might have to wait 10, 15 minutes, but they're going to get serviced.
That's right. That's the hardest cost, people forget, is getting them in the damn door. You already won the battle. You'll find a way to get it done. It's not, no, it's, I got you. Give 1 second. Every time.
There are 60 salons in Birmingham, Jason. You had to walk past 59 other ones to get to us. Do you think that I'm going to let someone walk out without being serviced? Are you kidding me? You've already blown past the other 59 to come to the vibe, to come to the scene. I'm not going to let you walk out. So now I'm helping build my young people. Mm-hmm. So for someone to be like, "Sorry, we don't have the time." Well, guess what? You might not have the time. I'll find the time.
That's right.
We always say that person that's coming in as a walk-in is a customer after that.
Yeah.
They're going to be a repeat customer. And that's just from telling them, "Yes, we'll take care of you."
It's so true. I mean, I try to think of all the places I've ever really got my hair cut, and I was seeing a barber. It was pretty good in Birmingham until I came to see you guys. And, I had him try to dye my hair, and it turned orange. It was a nightmare. And he's a great barber, but he's not made to dye hair. And I came in to see you guys, and then I was like, whoa, I really like this. Came in. But I know so many places that I went to where they're like, "Oh, we can't right now. We're busy." I never walked in there ever, ever, ever again. And anyone that took me, I always went back. I mean, until I found you guys, and I kind of feel loyal, like we're dating. But
it's the relationship. It's the feel good. I always say this is, before I had money to go to really nice restaurants, but when you went to a really good restaurant and they made you feel like this is your place, right?
Yeah.
Now you go to a restaurant and the host or the maitre d' or the manager, hey, George, good seeing you again. And you get to your table and there's already a drink there waiting for you because they know what you like to drink. Guess what? That's like home. That's like your home. All of a sudden you're like, anytime you do get the opportunity to go somewhere, you're like, hey, I'm going to go there. Why? Because it's your home. Like,
makes you feel good.
It makes you feel good. Yeah. It doesn't matter how much someone's charging you or what the end bill is or what the end, like, that's like your place. They made you feel good. Like, and you pay for feel good. That's what we pay for. You pay for that extra. And when someone knows you're extra and knows what you like, let me tell you, that's where you're going to be spending your money and your time and your energy.
What about this? So I always hear, and I'm going to get a little off topic, sorta, that being in the hair business, you got to be a vault. You hear all kinds of shit stories, right? My husband this, my wife that. My point is like, they come and you talked about this. You're like their therapist. They're right. Venting to you. I had it when I would go to a trainer, right? I would work out for an hour. I'm just moving my mouth complaining. That son of a bitch and this happened and blah, blah, blah. And then a little bit of it, I do it at the hair place. I mean, I'm not in it as long as some of the other folks are. I got very, very little hair. But I hear some of the talking and they build a real relationship with you, but they trust you. They bounce things off you. They vent to you. You're like their therapist. And then you've got to be a vault, right? What's that like? Years
and years and years ago, the guy who trained me was this old Sicilian hairdresser who was really good. And one day he's talking to me and he says, you want to really be good at this business? And I'm like, wow, like, yeah, of course. Like, I'm waiting for him to tell me something. And then he doesn't say anything. And then a day later, this woman is like turning around to talk to him. And I'm sitting, being the assistant, I'm sitting real close watching. And he looked at me and he says, can you excuse us, please? And I'm like, okay. I didn't know what the hell that meant. So I like walked away. An hour later, he's like, do you remember what I told you a couple of days ago about what it's going to take for you to be really good in this business? And I'm like, yeah, but you didn't say anything. He says, when I excused you to get away from that client for a minute, I wasn't being rude at all. What I was trying to explain to you is that she's going to confide in me about something. He's like, you want to be a really good hairdresser? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, people are going to tell you stuff, so you're going to keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Like, someone asked me 6 months ago, they're like, you're pretty good at this whole business thing. What's your, what business school did you go to? And I stepped back and I pointed to my chair. I said, I went to the best damn business school you could possibly go to. And he's like, which one? I'm like, right here. He's like, what do you mean? I said, do you understand the people that I work on? I'm like, these guys have gone to amazing Ivy League schools. They spew all this great information, and it's up to me to take that in and retain what I am and retain what they tell me and use it to my advantage, really.
Yeah.
So, like, people are always talking, and it could be from great, amazing things of work and educating you to my wife, my girlfriend, and her friends. Like, it's everywhere. That's why I say there's not a better business that I talk about than ours. I love what we do because it's up to you what you make of it. You know, the average hairdresser income, the median income in Michigan, I think, is like $27,000. I don't know anyone that works for us that makes $27,000. I'm sorry.
They make a heck of a lot more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, when I tell other salon owners that I have people in our salons that make over $200,000, they're like, they work for you? I'm like, yeah. Like, this is what they're taking home.
They're working dude, that's what I'm saying. The buzz there. You got these folks running it like their own little business. They've got clients coming in. They've got the help. I mean, it's next level. It's impressive. Never seen anything like it. And I think a lot of the competitors out there, you know, they don't get it because they're not scaling like you guys are, and they don't have that vision. You know, they're too worried about paying themselves and not worried about their people making money. And when your people make money, your business will grow. That's a fact.
there's nothing like getting your people to take your business and make it theirs.
Yep.
Because you can't train something like that. They have to feel it. They have to want it. They have to, like, when I hear my people talk about, I need to make this a certain way, or they're doing something maybe a client said, hey, can you do something for this charity for me? And they don't even bring it to us. They're like, hey, listen, I'm going to do this. I need some banners. I need this. And I step back and I go, what are you doing this for? And they tell me, and I'm like, wow, like, you are repping our brand, nothing that you even own. You're repping us, and you're doing this for yourself and for us.
Because it's their business through you. They're basically running a franchise through you, which is the smart, dude, it's smart. And you're empowering them to run their own business under your brand right there, which is great.
Which is exactly what we're trying to teach without teaching it. Like, I'm not your boss. I'm your bus. You get on our bus or you don't get on our bus. That's it. Plain and simple. I'm teaching you how to run your books. These are your books. If you come to work not on time, you're not going against my time. You're going against the client that booked your appointment. Mm-hmm. If you're falling behind, if you're not doing stuff, you're not writing down the formulas, you're not doing this, you're not affecting me personally. You're affecting the business and the brand, but you're affecting your client base. That's it. Plain and simple. This is your book. This is your chair. You run it. You work the hours you want to work. For the most part, we just tell you that the chair has to be filled. You tell me where you want to fill it, and we'll fill in the rest. But this is up to you to do it. We're letting you run your own business.
It's great stuff. Great stuff. And you guys run a successful business. You guys also have some products that you guys do. Let's talk about that real quick. What is that about?
Well, we do. Well, our new product is we started another brand called Die and Fly, which that's one of our products. So what we did is, you were talking about it at the beginning, like, you guys are going to keep branching out and you can't be everywhere. So our industry had two things. Either you colored yourself at home in a box, or you went to the salon and it took 2 hours or 3 hours. We started another brand called Die and Fly. And what Die and Fly is professional color at a reasonable price, but you're in and out within 60 minutes, meaning that you're only coming in for color. We're not taking away from the Six brand. You're another brand, but we're going into a part of our industry that we are never going to tap into, because box color is a billion-dollar business that people were going to CVS and to Target and to these stores and buying a box of color, coming home, and you were getting an activator and a color, and you were mixing them together, and it came with these plastic gloves, and it should have came with rosary, because you got to pray to hope to God that this shit comes out right, because odds are it's not going to. So we started a brand called Die and Fly, and what it is that it's strictly color, no hair cutting. We do a small blowout, but it's not a blowout like Six. You're coming in for color. You're in and out in 60 minutes. So right now we have two of our own. We have 3 franchises, and we've sold 10 others. So by the end of this year, we're hoping for 4 more to be open.
That's exciting stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, that's an amazing thing. And we're hoping by 2022 to leave the state of Michigan. We'd like to do Arizona, Dallas, and somewhere in Florida, where we just drop a couple stores and kind of show people what they're all about, and then they'll franchise that way. But that is something that is our vision taken to a different level. Like, we don't have to be there. We're still educating these franchisees. We're still educating all their staffs, but it's what we put together and our time, and teaming up with one of our big companies that we teamed up with, one of our brands, and doing something different. Again, our industry never allowed it. It was like, not that it didn't allow it, we just never gave another option. It was either the salon or box color.
I got the in between.
We're giving you another option, because clients don't always have the time to come in, or the people are like, I'm not going into the salon.
Well, blow bars do pretty well, and that's just go in and get blown.
Jay, the blow dry bars started less than 10 years ago, and they're a $100 million company. Just on a thought of a woman says, hey, I'm going to do these blow dry bars. And her husband, who was, I think her husband worked for Disney or Microsoft. I know that her husband worked for one of them, and her brother worked for the other ones. And they saw the first one go up in Santa Monica, and within 9 months, they built another one, because she brings this idea to her husband, and her husband's like, hold on. All that you're going to do is blow dry hair? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, so you're telling me that women can't blow dry their hair? She's like, I'm not telling you women can't. I'm telling you that they would rather not.
Right.
Makes sense.
I'd rather not, and just blow dries and products, because now that they have their own product line, they're $100 million company. And as of 2 years ago, I think that they sold, 50% of their company to a maybe like Procter and Gamble or one of the larger companies. And it was like, they own this solely. And all she was doing is teaching their people, because they own it all by themselves. They were teaching their people blow dries.
It's genius. But what you're doing with the color thing is very similar.
Well, that's what
it's an in-between. I like the idea.
We were emulating someone who has done something wonderful. Listen, Steve Jobs always would say everybody wants to have the next tire, wheel. You know what? How about instead of thinking about the next wheel, how about putting a little polish on the old one? All we're trying to do here is put a little polish on the old one. Like, people are already coloring their hair. How about us giving them the opportunity to have someone who's a professional do it for them at a reasonable price and the time allowed? It has to be time allowed. It has to be something.
People's time's so important. You're absolutely right.
It's the one thing you can't buy enough of. So it's got to be like running errands. It's got to be like, hey, I'm going to stop off at Die and Fly. I got to go to the grocery store. I have to pick up dry cleaning. Knowing that you're going to be in and out in 60 minutes, that's a win-win.
Yeah.
My wife is the person who says, I can go to Die and Fly or to 6. I have 3 children. I have a full-time job. I don't have the time to come to 6. But you know what? I have the time to take a quick lunch and go to Die and Fly and get my roots touched up and be back to work. I put it in a clip and I'm good.
Speaking of that, and that's a great business idea, and I'm very happy for you guys. I think that's going to take off for you guys. Well, obviously, it's already started to do that, so that's awesome stuff. Well, hey, so this was great. I want you guys to go ahead and let people know how they can reach you guys, where your locations are, things like that.
You can look us up at sixsalon.com, SIXSALON.com. That'll give you all of our locations. You can see who we are and what we're all about. Reach out to us, even if you just want to chat. We're always up for it. We're big fans of communicating with all of our people out there. We do a lot of fun stuff like this, and having the opportunity to talk to you, Jay, is nothing but wonderful. You know, I'm a big fan of yours because not only are you a good client, a good friend, but you are one of the most motivating and most energized people I have ever met. And I love shit like that, man. That's the stuff that's the stuff that, like, I gravitate to. And we talked about this before. Like, we seem to gravitate to people that are like that. And people get turned off sometimes by us because, you know, we're high energy all the time. And some people are like, you can't be like this all the fucking time. And it's like, we are. Unfortunately, we are. So some people are like, unfortunately you are, and we're like, fortunately we are. Because without driving forces like all of us, like, shit does not happen by accident. There is no elevator that takes you up.
One step at a time, baby.
We appreciate the time you give us, and thanks to everybody who listens out for any of this stuff. So
thank you very much. And you guys can follow us at True Underdog Podcast on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Also check out our badass YouTube video at True Underdog YouTube channel. And then we've got trueunderdog.com. Appreciate you guys from Salon 6, Johnny and George. Love you guys very much. Be safe. Bam! And that concludes another episode here on True Underdog. If you're interested in hearing more, make sure you subscribe at iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the YouTube channel. You can always visit trueunderdog.com, subscribe to all of them. Make sure you check out our newest episodes coming out on Mondays and Thursdays. True Underdog, baby. Bam!